and good evening. Welcome to tonight's presentation. We have one of our national partners, the California Southern Baptist Disaster Relief Feeding Team here to share with us their different types of kitchens. My name is Yi Chan. I've been a volunteer with the Red Cross for 16 years. During steady state, that's when I'm not responding to disasters. I am the Pacific Division Training Event Planner and also the Pacific Division's Feeding Co-Lead. And currently, I'm supporting DR 672 for wildfire readiness and capacity building. Several housekeeping items. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted tonight on our Pacific Division Red Cross YouTube channel. The link was included in the reminder email that was sent out a few hours ago. Your camera and mic have been disabled. We will not be using the chat function for this presentation. Please enter your questions in the Q&A. That's the button that next to the chat, and it will answer them when time allows. Please remember to enter your own hours on Volunteer Connection. And let's welcome Jane. She's the feeding lead for California Southern Baptist Disaster Relief. Jane, welcome. If you can tell us a little bit more about yourself and your team.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great. Okay, hello everybody. I'm really happy to be here with you and tell you a little bit about Southern Baptist Disaster Relief and our kitchens. Well, first of all, a little bit of just quick history on how we came to be. In 1967, there was a Hurricane Beulah, that hit Texas, and some Texas Baptist men knew people needed to be fed. So they used 1-gallon cans and turned them into little stoves called buddy burners. And they were able to feed both volunteers and survivors. And then move forward 5 years, we had our first mobile kitchen. And during a flash flood that went through central Texas, they were able to feed 2,500 hot meals out of that kitchen. And then moving all the way forward to now, we have a little over 100 mobile kitchens throughout the country and over 50,000 volunteers. Now, in California alone, we have 6 kitchens and right around 900 volunteers. And those volunteers, many of them are not trained in just one discipline. They may do feeding, chaplaincy, flood recovery, personal property recovery after fires. They're trained in multiple areas. So that's really a great volunteer to have that can do different things. So yeah, we have 900 people that are trained. So let's talk about the kitchens that we have. Now, nationwide, we have 6 types of kitchens. Now, not every state has all of these, but throughout the country, we have our type 1 kitchen that can serve more than 20,000 meals a day. And all of these meals are assuming that we're doing a lunch and a dinner. Breakfast is typically not included, but I'll talk more about that a little bit later. So the type 1 is more than 20,000 meals. Our type 2 can go up to 20,000. Type 3 up to 10,000, 4 up to 5,000, and then you can see the type 5s 2,000, and then type 6 up to 200. So those are the various sizes that we have. Now the type 1, the largest kitchen that does more than 20,000, you can see on the screen here, it's recommended that we have 50 volunteers to run that type of kitchen. And it does take every one of those 50 people. There's a lot of work to be done. There is waste to be taken care of. There's always cans and boxes that need to be, taken out, and just a lot of washing to do. There's a lot of work involved in a kitchen of that size. So then our type 2 and 3 kitchens, you can see how the type 2 requires 40 volunteers, type 3, 30 volunteers. Now, all of these kitchens can be combined if we need to be cooking more meals, or if one state doesn't have, a kitchen of the right size, they can combine 2 kitchens together. This picture that you're seeing was in San Diego in 2007, and this is actually 2 kitchens that were combined. At that time, we were doing around 10,000 meals a day, a little bit more than that, 10 to 12,000. So we combined 2 kitchens for that feeding. The type 4 kitchen, with a capacity of up to 5,000 meals a day. It's recommended that we have at least 15 volunteers for that kitchen. Now, these are the ones that we have in California. California doesn't have the larger kitchens, but this is the type that we have here. And we have four of them of this size. We have one that's located in just outside of Sacramento in Auburn. We have one in Riverside, one in Santa Clarita, and then one in San Diego. This particular picture is from the Petaluma fires in 2017. And right now in that picture, there's one kitchen there, but that is after we had downsized. We actually had another kitchen there at the same time. And the Red Cross was our partner for that feeding operation. Now, the kitchen that we're using the most often in California right now is called the QRU, the Quick Response Unit. And this one, we say we have a capacity of 2,000 meals, but really it depends on what the menu is. The more complex the menu, the fewer meals we can prepare. So if we're doing frozen food that we're just warming up, or something like a chili or stew, something like that, we can definitely do 2,000 meals a day, maybe even a little bit more. But if you're wanting something like steak and lobster, no, that's not going to happen. So it really just depends on what the menu is. But we do say roughly 2,000 meals a day. And you can see that this takes 6 to 10 volunteers, and that is minimum. Like I said, it'd be great to have more volunteers than that. Now, more about the QRU. We love these units because they are so easy to use. You can pull them with a pickup truck. You don't need a special vehicle for it. They are very quick to set up. When we arrive at a site, if we have all of the utilities that we need, electricity, water, and the other utilities, we can be set up and cooking within an hour. So they're very handy to have. Now, if we don't have electricity, these units do have generators. One of them, the generator is mounted on the tongue of the trailer, and the other one we just pull or bring a generator along with it. So with a generator, we don't even need to have utility power. The problem with that, though, is that generators are noisy. So if we're set up anywhere in a residential neighborhood, we have to consider that. We could run generators during the day for a few hours, but you definitely don't want it running overnight in a residential neighborhood. So there's quite a few things to consider about where we're going to set up and how we're going to operate. But these units are awesome to have. And we do have two of these. One of them is kept up in the Sacramento, Auburn area, and the other one is in San Diego. The last type of kitchen is really not even one of our kitchens, but this is when we can use some other facility. A lot of churches will let us use their kitchens. And most of those, we say up to 200 meals, but there again, it depends on the menu and it depends on what type of equipment they have. Most of the time, we'll only use church kitchens or other facilities if we are cooking for our own teams. But everything is open to discussion. If we need to use a church kitchen to serve other volunteers or the public, then that's something that we can talk about. Now, timing for deploying our kitchens, a lot of this is dependent on having volunteers and other wraparound services available. So this is just a good guess on our part. Day one of a disaster, or when a team is requested, our director starts gathering information and starts making a few phone calls to the lead people. By day 3, we could have one of our QRUs on site and preparing, 1,000, maybe 2,000 meals a day, depending on the menus and the food that's available. By day 4 or 5, if we're needing to keep ramping up, we can have one of our type 4 kitchens available to join with the QRU, and we can add another 3,500 to 5,000 meals. By day 6 to 8, we can have the other kitchens come along with it and maybe the other QRU. And, by day 8 and 11, we can be up to 16,000 to 22,000 meals a day. So that's just a guess at our timing on that. Now, the other thing, we can also call in kitchens from our partner states. Arizona has kitchens, and we have joined with them quite a few times to prepare more meals. And we can call in kitchens from other states besides Arizona as well. So a typical menu on a deployment would be lunch and dinner, like I mentioned earlier. For breakfast, we would work with our partners, like the Red Cross, and typically a continental style breakfast would be handed out to the people in shelters. We just don't normally provide breakfast because it would be a 24-hour operation, and we need to have lunch done pretty early in the day so that you can deliver it to the shelters where it needs to go, and then we immediately start on dinner. So usually we don't do breakfast, but everything is negotiable. It can be discussed at the time and to see what the needs are, see what we can do to help. A typical menu would include an 8-ounce main course, 2 6-ounce sides, a bread, and a dessert. And we would normally use frozen and canned foods from a reliable commercial source. We don't use a donated food that comes from any source that we can't verify as being food safe. So commercial sources are where we get our food from. All of our kitchen teams have a level of serve safe training. Our kitchen managers are required to have the manager certification. It's an 8-hour course on food safety, and all kitchen leaders have to have that. All of our other feeding volunteers will take the 2-hour Serve Safe Food Handler course. So we do require that this is taken by everybody, before they come to a site. And meals can be served in various ways. Our partner organizations can take the food out to shelters in Cambros, um, wherever they need to take it, it's fine. We can also serve, our team can serve at the various locations, or people can come to our kitchen site. And all of this is just dependent on the need. This is not something that we have a hard, fast rule about. It's just whatever the need is, we'll work to make it happen so that people have food to eat. So that's just a quick overview of our kitchens. Are there questions?
There is. Thank you so much, Jane. I have several questions in the Q&A, then we'll go to the hand raised. The first question is, we mentioned that Southern Baptist, we do a lot. So do you have any health group like RN, LVN, paramedics? And if you do you have any behavioral health or mental health group as well?
No, that's not something that we would handle. Um, our primary areas are feeding and flood cleanup, fire, personal property recovery, and then we do have chaplains that that try to help with the mental needs, but not anything professional like that. No.
Got it. Thank you. And what type of meals are you able to cook? Is it just frozen?
It's not always just frozen. That is our preference, frozen or canned. It's easy, it's safe, and we can put out a lot of meals in a very short time. But we do try to make it special in some way. We don't want to just be opening a can of beef stew and serving it. We really like to try to fix it up a little bit. People have been through, a traumatic event, and we want them to know that we care about them. So even if we're doing a canned stew, for example, we're going to add other things to it to make it just heartier. But we do try to stick with frozen or canned for safety reasons and efficiency.
Thank you so much. And is there any accommodations for different cultures or different dietary restrictions?
Culturally, we do try if we can to meet the needs for cultural feeding. Special diets, that's something that keeps coming up a lot. Now, there's several answers to that. The general answer is no, we don't serve special diets. There's some reasons for that. For one thing, if it's a medical need, we're not trained to handle that. And we do not want to be telling someone that food is safe for them when maybe it's not. And there are so many different degrees of health. For example, diabetics, there are some foods they can have and some they can't. So we can't just say, provide a diabetic meal and be able to do that. So the general answer is no. However, if it is something we can handle, we will try to help. In the QRU, for example, there's a great risk of cross contamination. It's a small area that we're using to cook in. And so the cross contamination is an issue, could be an issue. So, but if we have someone, if we're doing a small deployment and we have someone who can spend their time one on one just to prepare that meal, we can try to help with that. But the general answer is still, no, we don't do that. And in our MOU with the Red Cross, it does state that we'll refer those people to your organization to be able to find a meal for them.
Thank you so much. And let's go to the hand raise first before we continue with the Q&A section. Matt Smith, would you like to come off mute and ask your question?
Yeah, hi, Jane. First of all, I
Hi.
want to say I helped run a shelter down in Georgia for Helene and Milton, as it turned out. That was just a year ago. And you guys were amazing. We had 200 people in our shelter, but I think across Georgia, there were 48 shelters just in Georgia, let alone Florida and South and North Carolina. But you guys did an absolutely amazing job giving us 2 hot meals a day. And I want to second your comment about how important a hot meal is in people's psychological recovery from trauma. Obviously, they have to have a roof over their head and feel safe, but the next thing has to be a good meal, and it makes a world of difference. And Red Cross, we don't prepare food, even though we have our little feeding certifications. We serve food, and hopefully we store it properly as part of our certifications. But I do want to ask, in your kitchens, our one of our rules is all our food has to be prepared in commercially approved kitchens. And I'm wondering if your KRUs and other facilities are all like health department commercially approved.
Yes, the QRUs are definitely approved ahead of time. They are certified, and our outdoor kitchens. Have a little story on that. There was a fire. Where was it? It's in California. I want to say out near Riverside, and we had a health inspector come out after we were already prepared, preparing meals, and they said we're going to have to shut you down because we don't allow any outdoor kitchens here. And our leader at the time said, well, tell you what, why don't you go do an inspection of our kitchen and let us know what it is that we're doing wrong, and we'll see what we can do to fix that. So they went and inspected our kitchen, and they came back and said, can't believe it, your kitchens are doing better than our indoor kitchens. Keep doing what you're doing. And the next day they came back with one of their coworkers to show them our kitchens. So we do get inspected, and so far we've had no issues. So we're pretty proud of that record. But yes, our QRUs are definitely pre-inspected.
Well, I just want to thank you for your work down there, and you were filling up dozens of these big trucks we call herbs, and they were rolling out every day for lunches and dinners all over southern Georgia, and you guys were amazing. Thank you.
That's good to hear. Yeah, back east they deal with a lot of the hurricanes and tornadoes, and they have some amazing equipment and amazing volunteers back there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Matt, for the question, and thank you so much, Jane, for answering it. That leads us to the next question. We talked about California specific kitchens, and we mentioned that other areas have kitchens as well. Do we know how many types of each kitchen that we have across the Pacific Division outside of California, that is Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, Hawaii, and Alaska?
I can't answer that with any accuracy at all, honestly. The QRUs, they're becoming more popular because they are so quick and easy to set up. Now, in Region 1, which would basically be those states that you just mentioned, every state except for one has at least one QRU. That much I can tell you for certainty. There is one state that does not. Right offhand, I can't remember. I think it might have been Wisconsin. I'm not sure about that though. But they do also have the bigger kitchens, the type fours. I just right now I can't tell you how many. I'm really not sure.
Thank you so much. And I'm understanding correctly that if we need additional support, let's just say from California or something, and if the region does not have a kitchen, we're able to borrow from other regions. Is that correct?
Most likely, yes. Right. The directors would get together and talk about the need and decide then about how to handle it. Right.
Got it. Thank you. This question has two parts. I think one is on the Southern Baptist end and another one on the ARC end. The question is, how are these kitchens requested by ARC personnel to support the Red Cross mission?
The request would go to our director, um, and I'm not sure from your side who contacts him, but our director would be contacted, and he would gather all the information that's available, and decide from there how we're going to handle it.
Thank you so much. And from our side, if you go on OneSource, there is a document called Southern Baptist Activation and Food Procurement Standards and Procedures. I can go ahead and put the link in it. It was established in 2015. Nothing much changed except the process of submitting a PO. Something to keep in mind is when you're requesting a vendor such as Southern Baptist, you would need to submit a PO for purchase order, and you would have to go through your master chief, your ADF ops, your job director to get approval and decide altogether that you want to use such vendor and go from there. Okay, next question. Let's see what the next question is. Do you use any vendors such as Meals for All to meet specialty target needs?
No, we have not done that. As I said, we would most likely, if we're not able to provide the meal, we would go back to our partner, in this case, it would be you, and let what type of meals are needed. In fact, you probably would be aware of it before we would, honestly, because you'd be getting that information from the shelters. So we would refer that, to you, maybe work with you and try to figure out the best way to handle that meal. Um, but in general, no, we haven't done that.
Got it. Thank you so much. And who decides the menu?
That would be our lead cooks, or kitchen manager, actually working with the lead cook. And we would look at what supplies are available first. If food's already been delivered, we would look and see what's there, try to use that first, and then look forward. Usually we look ahead about 3 days and order food enough for 3 days. We don't want to go farther than that because, as you know, things can change really quickly in a disaster. So we don't want to order more food than that.
Thank you so much. That brings up the next question regarding when can we activate you or how long can we activate you for? Is it for a shorter period for a week, 3 weeks? How long of an operation do you anticipate that we can activate you for?
It varies based on the need. I've been out on deployments where it was like 2 days and we were done because things change quickly. Other times back east for the hurricanes, our teams have been there for, gosh, several months. Um, in general, we say a short-term deployment is up to around 10 days to 2 weeks. And then past that, getting into 3 and 5 weeks, then we look at it long term and see what we're going to need, see if we have enough volunteers. If we don't, we may look at our partner states. So there's really not a hard, fast rule on how long we'll be there. Just depends on the need and the volunteer availability.
Got it. Thank you. So there's not a hard stop that we can only activate you if we need for a certain time or period.
Right.
Okay, next question is for type 6. Can you use commercial kitchens that are in facilities used as shelters? For example, a public community center that we have an agreement in place for shelter, which has commercial kitchen within the facility.
Yes, we can. We can use schools, we can use recreation centers. Let's say our most common are churches because we have that connection with them. But yes, we can use other commercial facilities.
Thank you so much. And in those situations, would you just bring your volunteers in and then we can use the fixed kitchen? We'll operate the same one as the regular fixed kitchens. Is that correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you so much. This is more of a comment, and this at Hurricane Sandy, you helped all over and did barbecues and great events each week. So thank you so much. Another one is to clarify for the meal count. If 5,000 meals per day, is it 2,500 lunch and 2,500 for dinner?
That's correct. So all those
Okay.
counts are daily counts, assuming 2 meals.
Thank you so much. This one, I think, is a follow-up again, just to clarify. Is there a minimum meal count or days for deployment to put and ask for your support?
There's no minimum. That would be a director decision, to determine, how many volunteers might be needed. That would just be a decision he would have to make at that time. So there's really not a minimum or even a maximum. It's just all depending on what the need is and how we can help.
Got it. Thank you. And I have several questions. They seem to be the same question. It's what is the cost of meals, or can you give us an idea of the cost for the quick response units?
Yeah, cost per meal. That's something we've been trying to figure out again. Years ago, I'll say prior to COVID, we always said it was roughly $5 per person per meal. That was what it cost us to provide a meal to somebody. That has gone up, of course. In LA has been the biggest deployment that we've had really since COVID, here in California. And we did some math on that, and it seemed to be roughly $12 per person per meal. But there again, it just depends on the type of food we're getting, and the food that's available. Sometimes we're able to get food from like a food bank, which lowers the cost, of course. So it just, I would say average around $12 to $15 per person per meal.
Thank you. And these will be discussed during the activation process, right? So each disaster is different, and during activation, we'll be discussing that with you.
Yes,
Okay, thank
yes.
you so much. And we have similar questions again. What are some examples of your commercial sources, or that do you typically get your food from US Foods, Cisco, any others?
Primarily Cisco and US Foods. They're the two that we use the most. Um, there are others out there. And like I say, food banks, sometimes they will donate food and we do accept it from them. But as far as commercial sources, typically US Foods and Cisco.
Thank you so much. And another comment, you're a great group to partner with. I have enjoyed every kitchen I have worked with you with. And another comment of we really wish we can use you more for our Pacific Division feeding. Another
Thank
question
you.
is what has been the most popular meal of all time?
Oh gosh, I I couldn't tell you that. I really have no idea. Um, I really don't know. I think one of the ones that we tend to cook the most is like barbecue pork, pulled pork on a bun with coleslaw. We always seem to put that one on every deployment. Gets pulled pork at some point. But we also do like breaded chicken strips for lunch with like a ranch dip. Um, I don't know. We have just a lot of kind of standard menus, but I guess I'd have to say maybe pulled pork is one of the top ones.
It sounds so yummy. It's almost dinner time. Um, how are accommodations for your staff handled?
That's a good question. And sometimes that is an issue for us. What we'll do is we contact our churches, wherever the disaster is located, and see if they have room for us. And we would normally use their facilities, their Sunday school classrooms, places like that. And we bring our own cots, and whatever we need for sleeping. We will bring in a shower trailer if there's not shower facilities available. Um, Arizona has a shower unit that they brought to us in LA for us to use. So, yeah, typically churches, and we bring in our shower units.
Thank you so much. Another comment. I worked with you guys in LA when I was the feeding manager in February, March, and it was a great experience. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And another comment that we have offered cots for teams that deploy to support us.
Yes,
Another
we have
question
used
that,
them, so thank you.
thank you so much. Another question that I received early on before the presentation was if people are interested in supporting Southern Baptist, how do they join you and how do they volunteer with you?
If you go to the website, csbc.org, and then go to the disaster relief section, it'll tell you about all the trainings that are coming up. Right now, we're doing roughly 4 or 5 training sessions every year, and we do scatter them throughout the state. We're in Northern California, Southern, Central, and so we do trainings. So you need to go through an orientation and then train in at least one area, and do a background check. And that's it. And then, if you're going to be on a feeding team, follow up with ServSafe.
Thank you. And is there a standard deployment time? Like, Red Cross, when you do out of region deployment, usually it's 14 days. I mean, 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Is there such time frame for your organization as well?
No, we like to have people commit to 5 days, 5 to 7 days. We like that, but we don't always get that. Sometimes people say, well, I can do this day, but not that day. And we will take them. We will take anybody who wants to help out. So, but no, we don't have any specific time commitment. That makes it a little challenging sometimes, but we do need the volunteers, so we'll take whatever time frame they have.
Thank you, being flexible. And
Mhm.
do you supply hard assets like dumpsters, or is this our responsibility as the Red Cross?
I do believe in the MOU that is the Red Cross responsibility, all those wraparound facilities or equipment. I have to go back and double check that, but I do believe that is the Red Cross that supplies that. Now, we might be the ones to actually request it, but it would go back to, I believe, the purchase order for the Red Cross.
And I do believe that as well. And for Red Crossers, if you go on the link that I just published earlier for the standard procedures for activation, it says on there that if there's any supplies request, we'll handle that by logistics. Um, Another question that maybe this has been answered, but how are you funded and where do you get the funds to operate?
Okay. A lot of it is donations. Whenever a disaster occurs, people do send in money. They want to help. And other than that, their churches send money to us throughout the year as part of their tithes and their offerings. So we do get money that way too.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And another question is, are all of your disaster relief members have to be Baptist church members as well?
Yes, that is a requirement.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And let's see. I was about to say that we don't have any more questions, and I saw another question pop up. I think we
Okay.
mentioned earlier, how many volunteers do you have in California?
Right around 900. And these are people that have been background checked, have been through orientation and at least one training. But like I was saying earlier, 900 volunteers, but some of them, in fact, quite a few of them are trained over multiple disciplines. So, they could deploy with a lot of different types of teams.
Thank you. And while we wait for more questions, feel free to put into the Q&A or raise your hand. I'd like to ask you, Jane, what is your favorite deployment, or what is the most memorable deployment that you had, and what was the impact on our clients?
Well, every one of them hits me in different ways as far as being a favorite. Um, my very first one was Hurricane Katrina. And man, I learned so much from that. I was there almost 2 weeks. We were doing 12, 13,000 meals a day, and I had no idea what I was doing. That was my first one. And that one is the one that got me really hooked. Other than that, I would have to say maybe Petaluma. That was the first time that I led a kitchen on my own. And all of my worst nightmares happened, but also a lot of really good things happened. It was an awesome training experience. And Red Cross was our partner there. And people there were just awesome to work with. So I'd have to say, yeah, Katrina and Petaluma were the two that stand out the most for me.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad to hear that both of us organizations are there to support our clients.
Right.
Karen, if you want to come off mute to answer your question, Karen Johnson.
Yes, yes. I just want to share that Katrina was one of my first big deployments, and I was PA, public affairs, traveling all over the state. And thank you for your kitchens. You did an amazing job. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. Okay, another question is, do you have any tips for us as partners? Is there anything that we can do better to support you and support our own clients?
Oh my. Um,
We're
the
throwing
one
hard questions to you.
well, the one thing that just popped into my mind is something that I really don't think that you even have control over. Um, there we go. Shut my phone off. Um, when we're on a site and we're doing thousands of meals a day, we get our counts from you. And we would normally get our counts like late in the afternoon of one day to be prepared for the next day. Sometimes, though, those counts come into us really late or they change by the next morning. And when we're trying to prepare food and get ready to cook, and things change on the spur of the moment like that, it really kind of throws us for a loop. But I don't think you have control over that because you're just basing your counts on what's happening in the shelters. So I'd say that's one of the big things that comes to my mind. I just don't know if there's really a solution for it, though.
Thank you so much. It is our I'm not sure if I'm calling nightmare or calling just the nature of disaster that we always struggle with counts. And that brings up to a good question of if we do have count changes, how much lead times do you need? So let's say that, we're predicting, let's say the planning assumption, I live in Los Angeles, we currently have storms going on. And let's say that I'm predicting a number and suddenly the storm is not happening, prediction storm is not happening, and we decrease the amount. How soon should we notify you?
As
I mean,
soon as
as
you
soon as
can,
possible, but
right?
is there a lead time to it?
Well, no, just as soon as you can. We've had situations where we've already cooked the food, and then our Red Cross liaison comes to us and says, "Never mind, we don't need it." And then we have, the hundreds, potentially thousands of meals prepared that we can't serve. Don't have anyone to serve to. So, yeah, as soon as you know, but we realize that you don't always know very far in advance. So, yeah, it's a tough one.
It definitely is tough. And so in those situations, what would you do with the food?
We would talk to our liaison with the Red Cross and try to figure that out. And if you wanted to take it out to like, a homeless shelter, something like that, then we can work that out. But yeah, we would talk to you and say, what would you like us to do? Many times, unfortunately, we end up throwing food away. I remember in Petaluma, we made thousands of hot dogs and ended up throwing almost all of them away because they weren't needed. Breaks our hearts, but it is what it is, and sometimes we have to do that.
I'm sorry to hear that, and it is disaster. Um, the next question is, Anne said, I've been on operations where your group also offer laundry services. It was such a morale boost for all of us. Do you still provide that service?
I'm going to say yeah, probably not. California currently doesn't have a laundry unit. Um, Other states do have it. So for California right now, I would say probably not. But if there's a true need, we're going to try to make something happen. So if there's a true need for laundry, we'll talk with our director and try to figure something out. I don't ever want to say no because where there's a need, we're going to try to make it happen.
Thank you so much. And for Red Crossers, it's also an important conversation to have with external relations so they can support us with all the other resources as well. Okay, next question is, in addition to providing meals for our clients, do you also provide food for CAL FIRE or other government agencies or first responders?
We will if there's a need. What we have found is that they have their own resources for food. So it's very rare for us to feed them. But we will if there's a need, or if someone shows up at our site, we're going to offer them food. Um, but typically they take care of themselves.
Got it. Thank you so much. And
Mhm.
if we're interested in taking your training, how would we do that? Do we have to be a volunteer to take your training?
Right. Well, you would go to that website and look up the training times and dates, and you would sign up for that, and then come to the training. And once you've been trained, background checked, then you're able to volunteer. Let's say we to become a member, we do ask that you're part of the Southern Baptist Convention, a member of a church.
Got it. So let's say if a person that is not a member and they just want to take the training, are they able to without being a volunteer?
I'm sure we could make that happen. Yeah. Also, there are times when we might be able to take a walk-on volunteer. Say we have a kitchen set up and we're very short on volunteers. We might be able to use somebody for a day or so here and there. We would ask that if you haven't done something like a Serve Safe training, that you go ahead and sit down and take the course. It's 2 hours on computer. But we do take walk-ons that we can use for various tasks.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I am not seeing any. Let me refresh one more time. I'm not seeing any additional questions. Does anyone else have any additional questions that wants to come off mute? I mean, raise your hand so I can unmute you or put your question in the chat. I am not seeing any. Julia just emphasized it's really worth to take the training. The Oregon and Washington team attended the training. Okay.
Great. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so another question is, do you allow or had to rely on what we call event-based volunteers? Event-based volunteers, for our definition, is that they only come in for that disaster specifically. They're not our long-term volunteers. Do you have something similar to that? It sounds from what you said you have something similar to that, the walk-on volunteers.
Right. Right. Just walk-on volunteers. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty much what we would have if a person doesn't go through the formal training. Yeah.
Got it. And how long does that usually take for onboarding for a walk-on volunteer?
The SurfSafe course is about 2 hours online, and that would be the main thing that we would need people to do.
Got it. Thank you so much. I have a lot of thank yous in the Q&A. Thank you so much for this information. It does not seem that we have additional questions. Let me just check one more time. Jane, I want to thank you so very much for accommodating us. From the time that I spoke with you back in September, you have been extremely accommodating. Thank you so much. If you're able to see the screen, you have lots of claps, lots of heart, lots of thank yous.
Well, thank
We
you.
had a large audience, so I couldn't, for bandwidth and other purposes, I couldn't allow mics, but you have tons of hearts and everything
Oh,
and
great.
claps and
Thank
thumbs
you so
up and a
much.
happy face. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're
We look
welcome. It's been great
forward.
to work with all of you. It's been great to work with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We look forward to working with you in our next disaster. With that, thank you all so much. The recording will be published on YouTube later on tonight. Give me till the end of tonight, and you will see it. And Jane, I will touch base with you offline tomorrow for a phone call. Thank you also very much for attending this. Thank you all.